Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the House of Dragons spoilers, reviews, whatever the fuck they are. This is the penultimate episode. I'm sure Dylan must just woken awake somewhere. Oh, penultimate episode of House of Dragons Season 1. I am no Oathbreaker, Trask now. I'm joined by...
I am the usurper, Kirklin Patzer.
I am the I don't want it, Taylor Field.
Taylor, where can they find us?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us the Internet Connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse on our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook. And just give Travis a little bit of extra time. It's funny because I was talking to Dylan earlier. He's like, "Oh, what do you have? House of the Dragon? Is it the finale this week?" And I was like, "No, Dylan, as Travis likes to put it, is the penultimate episode tonight that we're watching and reviewing."
You ruined his night.
You got. Oh, I did. Yeah. He's like, "You know what? Fuck you, Taylor." No.
You know, because I'm still just promoting the episode here. I have to ask, where the fuck is the Lord of the Rings poll?
Oh, it's coming.
But we missed the prime time of the show. The show's
Oh,
over
no. Prime time season 2 is just
People are catching up on the show.
Off.
Yeah,
That's
not everybody's seen it all.
2024. Oh my god! Never tease something again like that unless it's going live the next day.
I need villains. I need
No,
get
you
some villains in
don't.
there. Yeah, I do. There's
Just change it up. Just randomize it.
We'll crunch it out,
please.
Taylor. We'll get a list
Yeah.
going.
See, we're working. Don't worry, Travis. It's coming.
Yeah.
Oh god. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what else is coming? Well, next week actually we got lots of stuff, tons of reviews. Obviously, you can go back. We did the She-Hulk finale. We did the Rings of Power finale. So lots of good stuff there. We still got House of Dragon going. We still got Andor going. We still got lots of things. Me and Taylor just did a Halloween Ends review, which is very interesting because the internet's just like, man, what people have said about it being the Last Jedi, the BVS of Halloween or horror movies, it definitely is. Because I'll scroll and one people was like, "This is the worst movie ever made," and then someone like, "This is the best movie ever made." And
I think I'm on the wrong side of history though. I feel like mine is the minority opinion.
What's
I've
yours?
seen.
I'm curious.
No,
I can't say.
Go listen to the review and find out. I don't think so, Taylor. I think it's very 50-50 from what I've seen.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I'd say it's like a 33 of like the love, the hate, and then people like me that are like somewhere in the middle. I spoiled mine, but I think me spoiling my reaction's probably good because for the whole year I've been like, "Fuck this movie" and stuff. So the fact that I'm somewhere in the middle, you might be like, "Why the case is that?" Go check out the movie. It's on Peacock, and then go check our review. And then Black Adam's our big one this week. It hasn't set in. We got Black Adam. Got Henry Cavill coming this week. I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm always excited when we're reviewing a big comic book movie. So everything you need to know about us is down below. The video, the audio, the Discord, and the Patreon, everything in between. The Patreon, go over there and support us. Get ad-free, exclusive, early episodes like this ad-free. You get. We just did Lord of the Rings cast that was exclusive. We're doing a Gauntlet one that's exclusive. We have lots of fun things coming up. And then speaking of Gauntlet, and also big shout out to our Patreon producers, Aaron Braid, April Darkness, Joshua Wright, and Smiley Biggs. Speaking of Gauntlet, yes, the send-off's happening. We're having our last league matches, our last title matches coming this November 5th. 24-hour extra life charity stream at 9 a.m. PST. We'll be streaming live for, as it says, 24 hours, probably a little bit plus with knowing our setup and stuff like that. But 7 events, Lord of the Rings Monopoly, title matches, esport matches, the best of 5 final Call of Duty match between Taylor and Kirklin. Me and Taylor versus each other in a ladder match. No, not a ladder match in the games, a legitimate ladder match. And you're not going to want to miss any of that event. So stay tuned. Well, tune in and donate because all donations are tax deductible. They go towards BC Children's Hospital. And if you can't on the day, please just spread and share that link. We'd really appreciate that. And check out Manscaped, but you hear a little bit more about that later. I think that's everything that's cooking here at GeekVerse. We're cooking lots. So there's lots of stuff cooking, lots of feet to the fire. But speaking of fire, Kirkland, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, so penultimate episode. I thought this was definitely a solid episode, but unfortunately, again, I feel like this is really where I'm getting a little bit more bothered by these time skips because there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't get to see happen between, not even necessarily from like last week to this week, but just the last few weeks. I'm like starting to realize that I'm not ever gonna get some things touched upon, so that's just unfortunate. And again, it just I guess equates to that decision to implement these time skips throughout the seasons. And unfortunately for me, it's just not the preferable way I wish they went about things. But still, I definitely think it's a solid episode. Definitely like building up for next week. So like for me, that like there is some intense stuff that happens in here, but for the most part, it just feels like a build up to the big climax next week, which I cannot wait for. I'm super pumped to see that. but yeah, I don't want to share too many thoughts because there's some things I'm excited to unwrap with you guys, unwrap and unravel in the spoiler section. But for the most part, I think I'll leave it there. Other than just maybe adding on that, I think this is Olivia Cook's best episode in my eyes. I think she's absolutely fantastic. I thought she was great like throughout the show so far, but this episode really was like wow, like she's top tier there. And yeah, I'm not sure how much more we're gonna be seeing her in the future, but I'm still glad that we got to see of her in just inclusion as the character of Alison Hightower. So. And
Okay, Phil.
fucking Sir Kristen Cole. My gosh. I'm excited to talk about him.
What a guy. What a guy. What a team player, I guess.
What a team player.
Yeah.
Till you break his heart.
Yeah. Taylor Field.
Holy shit, this is like we've had some absolute killer episodes, and this was just an absolute another like perfect one for me. I felt like there was intensity, just a really nice slow brew and slow burn, just leading towards some awesome, chaotic craziness that's going to unfold in the finale episode. But just the way this episode came to an end too, I was so excited. I was telling Madison like, oh, I hope they do this. I really, really, really hope they do this. And they did it. And I was so happy. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like a child just like finding fucking Santa Claus in front of me. But it's just so good. So freaking awesome. So yeah, like as far as this show goes, like I'm gonna reiterate this again when we do like our final review and final prediction stuff. But shit, like this is the best TV that's on right now for me. I just get so excited for my Sundays to just get to tune into this show, and every episode keeps on upping the ante. And this again just did not disappoint for me.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know if it's on that level of Taylor. I did really enjoy it. I think the best way to compare it, which is funny because, Taylor didn't love the movie we got to talk about in GeekVerse one time, but is I compare this episode to Uncut Gems, where the second it starts, characters are on a go path, and it's like, hey, be really fast, and it's go, go, go. And it's just intensity, and you feel anxious, and you're like, oh, these people are talking to this person's not doing this person can't be found, blah, blah, blah. So I really liked that. I liked the majority of the episode. It was very tense. It was just very pins on needles the whole time. I agree with Allison, but I also agree with, I think, Reese or Rise, Ifans, however you say his name, the guy who plays Otto. I think this was also his best episode as well. He was making a lot of moves, also just like in the character front, but as a performance, I think he got to share a bit more of a range, which is good. But yeah, it was. I like the choice that they made was highlighting the certain characters we did, and it felt very, for a huge kingdom, it felt very almost claustrophobic because, like I said, it had this. We got to get things going. We got to get moving and stuff like that. And I can't say too much because there's certain events. But yeah, the only thing I dislike from this episode is funny because I think I know what Taylor was wanting. I think the thing that he was wanting, I thought was not a good choice because it just made certain characters seem dumb. It just felt like they had no big like ending for this episode. So like, oh, we're going to do this, but it really led to nothing. And the whole sequence was just very confusing, all around confusing. So I think it kind of brought it down for me where it's like, lots of plot armor going on here. For a show that lots of people can die at any point, this was very much like, oh, feels like TV. And I agree with Kirklin. Yeah, I think the time jumps still never sit with. The same reason of like, it's not a spoiler, but we tuned this episode, man, no Fazaris. And it's just like, still, I could have taken like a couple more seasons of that guy, but he's gone. So, yeah, I think a very good episode. I'm very, very excited for next week. I think it's going to be a great finale. But I don't know. I'm not sure if they're following the Game of Thrones route because the Game of Thrones finales were usually more quiet, if you remember them. It was always the penultimate episode that was big, and then the finales were like the aftermath. So I actually could see next week's episode being pretty low key. I think there'll be some big stuff, but I think it might be a bit more plotting. But this show's a lot different than Game of Thrones season 1, where I feel like it's been a lot more bigger and grander, which I do appreciate. So I think it was a very good episode. Not my favorite of the season, but nonetheless a very good episode, and I'm excited for the season finale. I'll be sad when it's over because then I'm not sure when the next season's coming out, but it's good having this back on Sunday. So anything else before we jump into the fire? No, not even a word. No. So the audience have no idea. The guys are shaking their head. What is this?
We DC'd.
A center for ants?
Disconnected.
All right. So we're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back in the spoilers. We'll be right back. And we're back. So I want to start with the ending because I want to get Kirklin's opinion because he was laughing and giggling. So I feel like he might be on my side and whatnot. So anyways, we're going to jump to whatever. I can never say her name because it's like close enough to Rhaenyra, but it's not.
It's like Rhaenys.
Rhaenys. So the obviously tied to a lot of people, right? Viserys' sister, Rhaenyra's aunt, should have been queen. Some people think, but wasn't because she was a woman. Yet, We're gonna get into it all, but she was pretty much kidnapped and held against her will. We'll say she was locked in a room. So this happens. Sir Eric gets her out, which again, I'm just skimming over to get to the end here, but lots of shit's going down. And the point is, we got to get you out of town because bad shit's probably gonna happen to you after these conversations we've had in this episode. Let's fucking go. Okay, I like the scene. That's where I compared to Uncut Gems when they got caught in the crowd. It was just like the anxiety was going up 1,000. Like, oh my god. And I was like, Sir Eric, why the fuck are you still in your cloak too, man? Like this just looks so bad. But that's not the stuff I have a problem with. It's fine because they didn't know the crowds were coming. So they get split up. She gets brought into the ceremony. Obviously, again, we're going to get into it, but Aegon is being knighted and everything like that. She sneaks away and is like, fuck yeah, she got away. And then what happens is, because nothing big has happened yet, it's just been a regular royal coronation. Aegon gets the crown. He's doing the fucking cheers. He's a man now.
Let's fuck.
Yeah, let us
Morpheus.
fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's a sexual assaulter. It's not what you think it means in this show. Like, Aegon's bad news, which we still didn't see that handmaid, by the way. But anyway, so he's screaming, yeah, let us rule or whatever, and then all of a sudden the floor bursts up and everything like that. Dozens and dozens of innocent people killed. And what they do here, and I was like, man, this is going to be gay. I was so conflicted because it's her on a dragon facing down if you're on Team Rhaenyra, it's all the people you hate, right? So if you're on her team, facing them all down, dragon ready to fire, dragon just yells, she stares down Alicent and flies away. This, to me, was so fucking stupid for so many reasons. To break through, to, like, one, kill these innocent people, to what? Just have a stare down? And two, I know people are going to be like, well, the rules of a kingdom, they'd have to, like, unofficially get him not to be the king so she could be the king. They literally locked her in a room for a full day and was pretty much, you got to join us or we're going to fucking kill you. So to me, there's nothing anybody, and Taylor's going to try, there's nothing anybody can say that would make me think that she should not have just blown them all to fire right there. Because this finale and now a few other seasons, like when later on, when one of her her daughters get fucking killed or raped or something by these people, and she's like, oh my God, how could they you could have fucking killed them all with fire right now. And I get it because it's the Obi-Wan thing, right? Where you can only do so much. But then don't do that moment. The dragon moment to me was actually super lame, and it felt very uncharacteristic for Game of Thrones to do something very like TV, like just very mainstream, with like big dragon stare down, like I'm coming for you, but not right now. Like I thought it was gonna happen, like an arrow might hit her, like something might take her out before she did, but no, she just like showed off, like yeah, I could kill you now, but I'm gonna do it later. It's like stupid, in my opinion. So I'm not sure. Taylor, what did you feel of this? And then we'll go to Kirklin because that'll be the middle. Yeah.
It depends how they play off in the
doesn't
future.
depend.
Because right now, I loved every second of that. But it depends what they do with it. If later on she's pissed off because one of those people that she could have burned kills her granddaughter, then it's her
it's
fault.
Game of Thrones. It's
absolutely
gonna happen.
her fault.
She's gonna lose someone close to her, and she's gonna be like, "What we could have done."
The only ones
Or
close
she'll
to her,
die. She'll get
the only
killed.
ones close to her two granddaughters, and if she dies, then that's the shitty outcome of that. For what she did. But the way I see it is, no one cares about the people of King's Landing. All these innocent people.
I know, but
no one
still,
gives a
just...
fuck with their king, their royalty, their whatever. No one gives a fuck. The only ones who care about their people are probably the Starks, and they don't know what the fuck's going on up north right now. So I give them that justification. But as far as like the Targaryens, the people in King's Landing, they don't give a fuck. They're killing everyone and anyone they want because they just don't care. So her breaking out and then her just laying the land, like just roaring at them. I fucking loved it because it was just like, you know what? You locked me in a room and this is it. Like I could have killed you, but if you fuck with me, I will kill you. So she just fucked off.
Such a lame.
No, I think it's totally fine. Like it just it sets
they fucked with you. They fucked with.
They did, and this
like, if you fuck my wife again. We're not going to be friends. Don't ever fuck her again.
They didn't hold a sword to her, though. They didn't hold a sword to her or anything like that. They just said, hey, we need your answer. That's it.
They locked her in a room.
Yeah, but it was
Day.
inconvenient. It was they locked her in a room for a whole day. It's inconvenient. They could have done worse. They could have put her in a jail cell.
If that character thinks that she was not going to get killed if she said no, then she's even dumber than this whole dragon thing. There's no way they are strong arming her, be like, hey, we want you to be with us, but if not, and expect, because here's the other thing, Taylor. It'd be different if she had no idea what's going on. When her and Eric walked out of that corridor, what does she see? Just some random fucking, king, like whatever, a master of a land hanging there. So she knows they're taking people out. If she saw nothing like that, go like, okay, maybe she thought they might be alive. This guy's literally just hanging in a hall, and it's someone that has power. So she'd be like, this is kind of odd. Oh, I imagine he probably said no. Like it was not written and paced well.
But
at all.
at the end of the day, like I don't think she hates her nephews. Like she hates like Aemond and Aegon that are standing there. I think there's probably a couple people like she didn't care, especially them being like Viserys' kids. Maybe she has some.
One.
She it's a big dragon, like biting one, like especially Alicent was right on top of Aegon. So again, it's just there's a lot going on. I think doing what she did lays the groundwork for like, hey, like next time, like I will fuck you up. So I'm leaving, and at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna come back down to her, like doing something in like the next episode. I think it'll probably be, again, Rhaenyra coming in to do something.
I hope she dies. I hope they kill her and her daughter, so you can be like, you fucking idiot. You could have nipped this in the bud 2 days ago. I hope they all die.
We already know
Valerian's
Otto and
stupid.
Alicent are at each other's like opposing forces right now, and I think Princess Rhaenys knows that as well. So there's another reason not to really kill her, but just like, again, let them know that there are more stronger opposing forces here than what they think they're rising to be, and that they need to figure this shit out. They need to tread carefully because there are strong opposing forces. Again, the Valerians are one not to fuck with, and that's now it stands here because she's left and she's got the biggest fucking navy and military and the whole of King's Landing, the whole Seven Kingdoms. So
yeah, it's like if she would have killed all these people, no one would have really fucked with her. But now all these other people are still alive that could fuck with her. That,
yeah,
like,
but
took her daughter's dragon.
it could also turn that coat too, where Alicent could think like, you know what, she didn't choose to kill me, like, and I'm going to honor that. I'm gonna like, you know, try and do something good here by Aegon. I'm really gonna oppose my father because who put it in her head that it's just been men controlling her? Viserys, her father, Otto, like all these characters. It was Rhaenys that said that. So I think it could pay off where she really just thinks on that, like, okay, we're going to really just keep Otto down, because it was reflected again in the carriage when she's like, you know, Aegon, your grandfather is going to try and talk to you and counsel with you to kill Princess Rhaenyra. We can't do that. You need to be like a just king. So I feel like, again, it's going to reflect, and it's going to really kind of put Alicent into an even more strong position of just that concept. Like, why haven't you considered just sitting on the Iron Throne as queen? So I think if anything, it's just going to add a lot more fire to these characters and what they're going to be doing in the next episode. So fuck yeah.
Kirklin.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm not so much fuck yeah like Taylor here. I don't know, like during the build up to it, I'm like, it would be pretty epic if like Daemon or like Rhaenyra showed up right now, and then
it's totally out of shift, out of narrative.
Right? Yeah, like I was shocked when it was her. I was like, who is this? And then I got subtitles on because I can't fucking hear shit while I'm snacking watching the show, and it just says like I forgot even now what her dragon's name was. It was like Maelys or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, it's Rhaenys. And I'm like, what's gonna happen here? And then I heard a rumor going into this episode that this was Olivia Cook's last episode as Alicent. And then they have like that stare down. I'm like, oh, we're getting a what is it? Dracarys? Yeah, Dracarys here. Like, this is gonna be epic. She's gonna just fucking murder everyone. Like, what's next week gonna be if she already takes out all these threats? And then just nothing. She just, as you mentioned, did like a mass murder to all these like civilians and just them. Fucked off. And yeah, I like in hindsight, I definitely wish that didn't happen there. I also just like didn't like the whole logistics of her just popping out of the ground like a fucking mole and then just flapping out of there like while the door was already half closed. It just seemed messy to me. And like Travis mentioned, like we didn't really have any major things come out of it, like other than just her escaping and like sending a message, I guess, that she's on Rhaenyra's side, that we already kind of knew that from last week's. It just seemed like a big event that said nothing. So yeah, in hindsight, I definitely wish they went a different route for that scene, because I would have liked it more even if we just like, oh yeah, she escaped with her dragon. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like, imagine during the coronation, they see outside the door that dragon flying away and being like, fuck. Like,
there's no other way to get out, though. That was the only way, right?
They had to murder like 30 plus.
You can say, yeah.
Fucking blacksmiths and like people that are like running the economy of this kingdom.
They never had to write that line when Sir Eric's like, you'll never be able to escape from your dragon. You know what you do? Delete. And that's it. You just see the dragon flying. They like George R. R. Martin said, it's make-believe. So they could have just made like, oh, I have your dragon in the back. ready to go, like whatever it may be.
Got it in the back.
I warmed her
It's
up.
packed. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
It was interesting, just to interject here, when Otto was just like, open the doors. These fuckers are closing the doors to
What
keep the
was
dragon in
happening
there.
Yeah, what was that? Because I was very confused. Of like, okay, so dragon pops up, and the guards go to close the doors.
I think I trap her.
But
Keep her in there with the royal family and everyone.
Yeah. And Otto's like, open the door. No one's listening. So I was so confused of like, is he trying to get the dragon out? Is he trying to help these innocent people? But the guards were like, fuck this, we're closing the door. Again, that's my thing. Like the whole scene overall, logistically, I had a problem with everything going on with it. Just, it didn't make sense because even though open door thing, I looked at him and I'm like, what's happening right now? Like, why was there initial
They don't give a fuck about these people.
Why was there a thing to close the door? Like what was King Land's just gonna be like 10 guards left and like, good thing we closed those doors, hey? Well, I guess it's ours. And then like that dragon's gonna get out eventually. Like even if they close those doors, I'm assuming that dragon could get through the door, or even Rhaenys could just like open them. Like it was just, I don't know. It was a clunky scene that I think they just were like, well, we want a big moment for this this crowning. What can we do? How would the dragon come to the fucking ground and blah blah. But I just feel like it's, like I said, it just felt too mainstream for me. It felt too fan fiction-y. Like, and then the fucking dragon comes up and shoots, like it pretends to shoot flames, but it doesn't, and they have a stare down, and then she flies away. And because at first I thought, which I thought could have been even worse, she was like breaking through the ground to be like, she was joining them and stuff like that. Because when she didn't kill him, like, oh, is this her saying like, I'm on your side?
Kills all these people. I'm on your team.
Well,
All hail the king.
it doesn't work. It doesn't work any other way either. Because next episode, Rhaenys is gonna be like, we need to save this kingdom from these people. But it's like, hey, didn't you like destroy like dozens of them with your dragon? Be like, oh, well, desperate times, I guess. But yeah. What do you guys think was the motivation? I that's what I did like this episode of, like, obviously we have Team Rhaenyra and we have Team Alicent, right? We kind of already saw those players last week form. What I really liked about this episode was seeing the people on Team Alicent, like their threshold of like how far they can go and their turning point. Where obviously Sir Christian, he's just looking for those feet. He wants that experience as well. So he'll do anything. But you got Sir Eric, who's like, I can't, like, I'm not down with this shit. I'm sneaking you out of here. And she's like, you could die. It's like, well, I just can't do this. And I loved that actor. It sucks that he's gone. The guy that did he was the former Lord and Commander, because that whole scene they kept showing him, and he was playing the down on his face just enough where it's like you can tell he's not okay with it, but is he gonna leave or is he just gonna sit and be fine with it? And that scene where he's like, go over there, just pretty much Otto's like, kill Rhaenyra, make it silent, go, and he's like, unless there's a king here, I can't be here.
So
and
good.
He dropped his cloak and he left, and I really love that. I still think, like, from a man of honor, I'm surprised he didn't go out there and like tell anybody. Like it was kind of strange. Like, I can't be a part of this, but I'm not gonna say shit. You guys can overthrow the kingdom if you want. Like, it felt like I was expecting a little bit more, but I like that dynamic of seeing who, even the kneeling scene as well. Really good.
Well, like we didn't get a definite result with that guy. Like, I could easily see him like sneaking off to Dragonstone or something next week's episode and just putting his loyalty with Rhaenyra. Because I really like that moment as well, like you said, and just that entire scene. It was so intense of like how quickly like everyone was just like, oh yeah, perfect, like everything's going to plan, right? And then Alicent, the one that's kind of like pushy, like she, like without her, none of this information would have even gotten to anyone. But she's already like, she's already like, holy shit, like this is like, I'm just a pawn, and she's starting to realize that, and she even kind of confronted that with Otto. And just seeing her handle that, I really think that's what makes me just like Olivia Cook the most out of this episode. She was just so fantastic of just handling all these different emotions and like trying to make a decision that makes sense for herself, but also to like her late husband's wish, and like just dealing with, like, she's kind of caught in this like war that she didn't even really know was already started, like without her knowledge. But yeah, no, particularly with that scene, and just like, it's pretty clear that like the old boys that are like always been around with Viserys are like on the Rhaenyra plan, and then like all these new faces that have come in, it's just like, oh yeah, no, like perfectly, now we can just get rid of her, gonna get Aegon in there, and then just like
for that one guy,
the obvious divide, because Sir Kristen Cole's got like fucking instant kill
sit.
on.
Oh,
he's got it on permanently this entire season.
Yeah. Oh, I
he's
can't
murdered so many innocent people, and it's just like, oh, he's got a carte blanche.
He just gets away with it, yeah.
And he doesn't fucking age throughout the entire show. I don't know why they have this one guy. They don't even give him like gray like beard like I don't
He
know
looks better
highlights
than
to
he
make
did back then.
He does. He looks younger, and we've gone through so many different actors with him, and they've like gone through the effort of making like Otto look a little bit scraggler and like older, but like this guy does not look like he's aged a fucking day, and I'm just not liking this guy. Everything around him, the logistics of like how they're handling like his look to like all of his personal decisions. Yeah.
I like
I
him
got
because
beef.
I think they're building up a really good villain or antagonist for the show. I do think it's to
Yeah.
a point where I still don't even. I wish again the time jump of. I still don't understand how he just mauled the guy in the fucking wedding court thing and like he just got to live.
He's
Like,
got
I
carte
never.
blanche.
I just never understand how the Valerians would be like, no, like we're fine to do this marriage, but you're fucking killing that guy. Like he just killed his.
He's not
like,
even a
protector.
Targaryen. Like
Yeah,
he's not
like,
even a family
he's
member.
just
Like
a
get rid of
guy.
this brute.
Yeah, like it. So that's where I feel like it's great that they're raising him up. But I do think the show is like a little lazy that way. Of okay, just because he protect the queen, he can do anything. When especially we've seen in many seasons of Game of Thrones, like that's not the case. Like if you're making a big move like that, you have to have like all this backing, and that's the same thing too, where it's a little. It's so funny that they're talking about like, oh, like a female being the king, that's going to be really bad and stuff like that. We can't let that happen. But what their plan is just to hijack the complete like the king, like the whole court, like, and that's what they did in this episode. They pulled the heist. They stole the crown. He's technically the king, I guess. And it's just, and I still wonder the logistics, and I hope they play in this. I think they will next week. Of okay, that guy in the council. There was two other people that were like the leaders or whatever kings of their land that were just killed. They were taken out of three, I guess, because the guy tried to escape. So it's like, do those people rally up and be? And I hope that's what's going to go to. But to be just like, this is a lot of kills for. And I guess the point of the story is they probably do lose in the end, Alice and all of them. But it's just like this feels like there's a reason this hasn't happened, and it feels almost too easy. But we'll see, because I guess it's just a power struggle, really, of their like holding up the kingdom.
And that's what's so unfortunate about like the decision to make these time skips. Like they have so many important like events that I truly believe they're just going to get completely glossed over and not answered at all, because we've already had that a few times throughout the show of just huge moment happens and they just don't ever fucking talk about it because we jump like 6 months to 2 years and they just like throw it out there and they're like, oh, the viewers won't care about it. And unfortunately it is kind of bothering me a little bit because it's just like there's so much more juice. Like I almost need another mini series to fucking fill in the gaps for this mini series that we're getting. Or I guess it's not a mini series.
I don't think we're jumping time again though. I hope. I really don't think so. I think this is
You don't
the
think so?
time. Like
Yeah.
if it is, it's like a 6 months. It's not a 6 years or something. I could see. I don't think I really don't, because then what? That would mean they'd have to like cast a Damon, unless Damon's supposed to be playing 60 and he still just looks like Matt Smith. Sir Christian Cole's 80,
Sir
he
Christian
still
Cole's
looks like
gonna
this
look
guy.
the exact same. Yeah.
He looks like a young child now. He's Benjamin Button. Fuck.
Sitting on Allison's lap.
Yeah. Taylor, what did you think about all these dynamics of people turning, not turning, stuff like that?
Well, again, like I mentioned earlier, the one guy just kind of like standing his ground, just getting his face caved in by his little ball thing. But all these characters, like you made a good point, Kirkland, the ones that were there through the Viserys age that knew him the best, they know how it's supposed to go. And like when Viserys did say like the prince that's promised, Aegon, should rule. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure there's 2 fucking Aegons right now.
We talked about this last week, though. Did they know? We were
They
like,
must
never,
have.
They must have, because again, they met them and everything. So it's like that's what I was waiting for. Like, none of this makes sense. How come someone's like, there is another Aegon?
I thought that was gonna be brought up in the meeting
Yes.
by the people like defending Rhaenyra, because I was in the camp where I'm like, well, no one actually knows that like there's another
Yeah.
Aegon, right? Like it was only Rhaenyra that showed it to Viserys, and Shay's like, no, there's no way that they came there and just hid these 2 infant childs and nobody fucking knew about it. With how many
Yeah.
spies there already are like in the Red Keep, like come on. So then she told me that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I
And they were out in
believe
the
you
open
now.
with the kids. Handmaids were holding those
Yeah.
kids, right? It wasn't just them with Viserys. So that was weird. And it's again like I get what they're trying to do because it is like the power struggle, but still just like it is Aegon's mom and his grandfather just been like, guess what? The king said he's gonna be king now. And I was kind of surprised like only 2 people didn't kneel. It was kind of like, shouldn't more of you kind of try to overthrow this? Because in my opinion, let's say everyone in that room that doesn't kneel, they kneel. and then they all get killed. It's like the whole entire world would raise up. But I guess what they're supposed to try to show is like when Aegon got crowned, that lots of these people kneeling were probably the ones that are like, yeah, fuck this woman, like she shouldn't be like queen or king or anything like that. So I just wish they would get more into that of these camps being like, I never wanted a woman anyways, I'll gladly bend the knee. But it's just assumed, I guess, because they set that up in episode 1 that they'll never accept it. But it's also been like what, fucking 26 years or something like that. Like there's so many people that are like, oh, I completely support Viserys because he never changed his mind. So it's like, well, like, so where are we here? And that's where I agree with the time jumps and stuff. But it's his life. It's happened. Aegon's king. You know. Taylor, what are some things you think you need to be a good king?
Some things that I think you need to have good king wise. Well, you gotta be honestly a lot of what Viserys was, but just not like
peaceful.
Yeah, like peaceful. I like how they not introduced, but they closed out his name like Viserys the Peaceful. Like I like that because he wanted just to be reigning in peacetime, no war, anything like that. But then if you get
Viserys
a king that's
the gross,
too,
all hail.
If you get a king that's too hard like that, then
like Aegon the Conqueror is his name.
You need to have that right in the middle sweet spot because you can't get someone who's all about like guns blazing, let's just go kill everything, warmongering, because that's not going to work out. You're going to get a Cersei kind of thing, and you don't want a Cersei kind of thing, and you don't want someone who's super soft like Viserys, because then you're going to have someone hiding from the problems. He's not going to do and make those like right decisions. You know, he'll ask his hand like, hey, tell me the truth, tell me the fucking truth, and you'll hear the truth. Like, you know what, you're dismissed. Get out of my castle, get out of my kingdom. You know, so.
No, I think those are good points and everything. I guess Viserys died, and he just got to hand the bag off to everybody, you know, so it's pretty easy. But, like, to me, I think the number one thing to be king is you can't have any big pubes going on. And that's why with Manscaped, you got to be trimming up that bush. You know, Aegon, hopefully he got his sword, he got his crown. Unfortunately, he's not in our time, because in our time, if you're king, the next thing you'd want is to open up your royal bathroom and see Manscaped. And the light would be flashing, you know why? Because the 4.0 has a fucking light on it, bulb that'll get every nook and cranny. I'm sure Viserys did not have a good situation going on near the end. He needs to think about his dad and think about, man, I can't be having any of that going on. I'm a king now, and I have to have a bush that is fitting of a king. Whether you want it down to the skin, whether you want some guards going on, whatever your bush of choice is, that's why you want to be getting Manscaped, because it'll do anything and everything. I just got some more crop preserver today, which was very good. Lots of good things going on. Taylor, you know, I feel like that's a king-worthy thing or a queen-worthy thing to be. That's you got to take care of yourself before you take care of the kingdom, you know?
Absolutely. And I can't get enough of using my crop preserver and reviver. I will say, like, the reviver, I believe, is the cream. When you... This is from my my experience. It didn't go right. My experience, it didn't go right. You know, a little inside personal story here. So I was trying to, you know, freshen up and let this be a lesson to all you young gents out there. Make sure you don't do what I did. Make sure your hands are warm. Because god damn, I got up in the morning, it's like 6 a.m. It's freezing out. I'm like, okay, we're gonna like put the the product in my hands, and I just go to touch my jewels, like, oh, it's cold, Mr. Freeze. It's just so brutal. So make sure you warm your hands up. You know, put them under some hot water, because then it just goes on like just fucking gravy. It's nice. So yeah, it's great product though. It fucking works every time.
Kirklin, please save this ad read.
Yes, I've never had that issue with my cold hands in the morning.
My boss has been frozen since I used the product.
Mr. Freeze, no. I fortunately I got my hands on the body buffer finally. That's the thing I was waiting on in the mail, and man, definitely like deeply exfoliates the skin when you're getting that body wash going. You know, using my body wash from Manscaped, scrubbing with the body buffer, and fuck, I've never felt cleaner. And you know, pair that with, like Taylor said, the crop preserver, ball reviver, all that stuff. Make sure that it's adequate temperature. I believe it specifies on the label what temperature to store it at. So maybe Taylor had it in the freezer or something.
Yeah, leave it in the
freezer. He had it in there with his batteries, but no, all the products work absolutely fantastic, as Travis said. You know, Lawnmower 4.0 doesn't matter if it's nighttime, if it's bright time, always right time with the Lawnmower 4.0. Got that LED light in there, got the skin saver, all that stuff, attachments. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Kirkland, for that that good story. So, ladies and gentlemen, head over to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free worldwide shipping right now. We're going to take our second ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So where do we want to go right now? We've talked about
Ooh,
this.
I know where we should go.
Oh,
Take us away.
Does it have to do with something else that could use some lotion? Yeah, right there. That should have been
Those
my
guys.
transition. So you got King of whatever, not King, just
Laris.
like Laris, King of
Laris.
Laris. Yeah. So we've talked about this. Where we're like, hey, what's the end game? I feel like we kind of theorized like, well, he clearly wants to be with or get with Alicent, right, and everything like that. So he's giving all this information. So all of a sudden, there's a scene going on. They're talking, and he's like, "Oh, well, it could be this thing." And she's like, "Would you know?" And he's like, "I would know." And then she puts her feet on the table. He's like, "Okay." She's just relaxing. Awkward situation, like to be relaxing, but fine, whatever. And then as the scene continued to go on, like, oh no, this is an arrangement they have, because then she takes off her leggings, she like pulls her dress up, and then all of a sudden, Laurie just starts fucking, hopefully he's manscaped, but he just starts beating off looking at Allison's feet. And I was just like, really? This is the end game you want, dude? It's like, you just want to see her feet, which it's fair because he has all this power. And man, what a humiliating thing for Allison. I was not expecting to go that route, but I'm not completely surprised, especially because like right before he sat down, they zoomed in on his feet. So it's almost like a foreshadowing. It's because he has problems with his feet that he just needs to see these feet. But man, I Allison not having a good go. It's called the old Crypt Keepers of Ceres chambers at late at nights, and now she's letting guys, she's Kat from Euphoria, just letting guys jerk off to her feet and everything like that. But Kirklin, were we expecting to see that on a Sunday night?
I was not. I didn't even catch on right away. I was just like, oh, she's had a rough day. She's taking the old socks off and just kicking the feet up as she's listening to some Laris Strong, I don't know, business proposal or something. So I was just like, okay, this is something strange I'm not expecting. And then it just kind of kept going, and I still didn't catch on until he just fully grabbed the old bratwurst and was just going hard. And I mean, yeah, like they're really pushing that this character is just fucking creepy and gross and weird. Because like
every episode,
I hated this character, and I thought it was just because he like screwed over Rhaenyra and like killed the father of her children and like all those things,
and his father too.
And then I'm like, there's this fucking like limper, like he's just limping around and just I hate this guy. And I'm like, should I be hating this guy? Like, does he have some like redeeming qualities? And he does not at all. He's just this really creepy guy that like the show is just like making it super obvious for the viewer to just not like this character. So he's just like the one. I don't want to say he's like a one-note villain, but it's just like he's the type of villain that has no redeeming qualities. And like we've seen those types of characters in Game of Thrones before, but it's just like I'm gonna be waiting for his inevitable death, I think, now. So I don't know. Like I already didn't like the character, but I just thought there was gonna be something to him that like makes him a lot more intriguing than what he is. And for me, I just don't have that at all. He's just this creepy foot fetish guy, and it's just I'm gonna just be counting down the moments till he dies. And I don't know, like I don't think he'll die next week's episode. I think they'll kind of leave him so he can be popping up next season and stuff like that, and just be this again. Like I've compared him to that Littlefinger type character where he just keeps popping in and like does different business dealings with different characters throughout different stages of the show. But unfortunately, I just really don't like this character. So I don't know. Like there could be something that makes me like him more, but I don't know. The foot fetish thing is a tough thing to get
I think
past.
we're past that point.
Yeah.
The foot fetish thing, killing his brother and his father, doing a lot of shady stuff. Yeah, he's definitely like whatever you want to say, the Joffrey, the Ramsay Bolton. I don't know who came after Ramsay Bolton. Who was like the next like fucking really hated guy? I thought there was somebody, and not Cersei, because Cersei like they always gave her a human side where you go, okay, she's our villain.
I don't remember a hated guy after Ramsay Bolton.
I thought
because
there
that
was
was near
somebody.
the end. That
It like
was
led
near the
into
end.
like the White Walker threat. So it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Battle of the Bastards. I just thought there was one more after that.
Maybe Littlefinger. Because you
No,
start to
they-
learn like he was behind like Stark, like the fight, the war, everything like that.
But they still even made him a bit more like I won't say likable, but you could understand some of his motives and things like that. I swear there's some other. I'll do a most hated characters list because I thought there's some, and not Danny, because I think Matt and Danny unfortunately became that eventually. But
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor, what do you brought up the feet? You showed us your feet. You know,
Oh,
when I
yeah.
search up most hated, it's most hated man on the internet. I don't need that, Google. But thank you.
Just GeekVerse podcast. That's all it
Yeah.
says.
Oh fuck! It's a picture of me.
So yeah, with the feet, Madison said something about it first, and I just kind of disregarded it because I thought to myself, I just thought it was super weird and out of the Game of Thrones world for her to just kick her feet up like that. It just seemed like that's something we do in our
What?
society. Like it didn't seem like how she did it was super casual, and it didn't fit with how anything I've seen in the kind of like a medieval present show before. So. Needless to say, I just overlooked it. Like, yeah, okay, sure. And then he focuses on his eyes, like looking at it, getting a little like antsy. And that's when Madison said something. I'm like, oh no, probably not. She's just doing what she's doing. And then yeah, she took the socks off. Thought, oh, okay, what is going on here? And then when she turned to her side and looked away, I thought she was just like looking away and like doing something. And then it cuts to this like mischievous scene of him just reaching his hand under his pantaloons and just start beating one out. And I thought like, Allison, turn, look, do you not know what he's doing? Like, but clearly we know she's intentionally not looking at him. But he was preaching some interesting information to her that her father knowingly kept this whole like secret web of spies active. And there's just a lot of betrayal and stuff going on. But yeah, I never once thought this Laris guy was into the feet thing, but yeah, I wonder how many times this has happened. It seems like this is definitely a well-rehearsed gig.
lot.
Yeah.
Too many.
Because remember, he said that he's like, you've been spreading many others with my daughter, and he's like, it could benefit you as well, which is like,
Yeah, let me see your feet, Otto.
Yeah.
Let me see them.
I know you want this done. Let me see your feet. The guy I was thinking of, which number 15, I don't know this website. Oh, I think it's Comic Book Ranked or so. It's CBR, but number 15 was Viserys. I'm like, I know he made some bad decisions, but I'm not gonna put him as like the most
15?
hated and stuff. Like, yeah.
Jesus.
Obviously, it was in the middle of it, but I think because he burned his daughter, like Stannis Baratheon, definitely he jumped up there at the end of like just completely
Yeah, he's
unlikable.
questionable.
But the guy that I was thinking of after, he wasn't as big, but was Euron Greyjoy, the one that Cersei brought in, just like be her new king and like muscle and stuff like that. He had like killed his brother. He did like he was whatever. So like there's a few
was his
people
name?
there. Euron Greyjoy.
With a Y or like a,
He was like the cousin of
Euron.
Theon and
Yeah.
his sister, and he wanted
Yeah.
to lay claim to the Iron Islands, right? And then the sister was like, "No, I should be laying claim. I'm
Yeah,
taking
he
off."
killed
Can't
up,
even
but
picture that
yeah,
guy.
they weren't even
Oh,
that big.
yeah.
I just knew there was one other one's Ramsay, and it wasn't as big, and obviously Stannis almost made it to the end, but fuck Stannis.
Our Game of Thrones poll champion, Stannis Baratheon.
Don't even want to get into Stannis Baratheon. God damn. Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the feet. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think about what else there was to talk about here that we haven't touched upon yet. You guys got some?
well, I mean, we kind of already talked about him, but I'm just gonna bring him up here again. Fucking Kristen Cole here. His character, yeah, I hate everything about him. I hate how he just doesn't age. I hate how they just have him as this imposing threat to like our heroes, and there's just like there's really nothing like of substance around this character other than just he fell in love
He's
with
a dick.
Rhaenyra. he just got completely depressed when he didn't want or she didn't want to marry off with him, and he's just this like I'm not even like fully buying the like attachment with him and Alicent like anymore. Like I feel like okay, yeah, we're gonna get like a deeper conversation that maybe like they're in love and like this is a stronger bond, but we're just supposed to like just accept that no, he just really hates Rhaenyra for not marrying with him, and it just makes that fact that he's just blindly following Alicent. He's just racking up a kill count, and it's just like I don't know, like I really didn't like him in the beginning, and I was hoping for more, but I'm definitely not getting more. I think definitely he's gonna get fucking bopped by Daemon next week.
next week, really?
Yeah, I think he's gonna perish in next week's episode. And maybe that's just like my passion for his death,
I
like
think
just
so.
wanting it to come. But yeah. I had to
I
bring
think
him up
he's-
again because I'm so frustrated with what's been going on with this character.
That's fair. I think he's making it to next season as well. I think they're gonna
Yeah.
let some of these characters you hate or dislike.
And he's gonna look the
sit
exact
around,
same
but
fucking
yeah,
age,
he's gonna-
just
Well, as
no
long as they don't
gray.
time jump, but yeah, no, I think that's the problem with jumping so much time because I could believe that he disliked Rhaenyra and because him and Alicent both kind of feel screwed over by her, like the years and years of just them like talking about it, not getting over it, it would build that up. And to me, it's not even that now. It's so much that he's doing it out of hate for Rhaenyra. It feels like he's doing it as a pledge to Alicent. Because I guess I'll disagree on that front, where I do feel the bond there when she says like, take everything you feel for me and put this into this mission. It's like, well, what the fuck does he feel for you? You know, and I don't actually think that they have done the deed or anything like that, because I think Alicent was. That's why she's so pissed, because she kept up her end of the bargain and lots of other people aren't. But I think soon they're going to bang it out. Now I think what the problem is going to be, they're going to bang it out, and I think Otto might promise his daughter to the
Larys.
Larys, and I think that could be
Ooh.
just because when he said like we can help each other, and just because that's the vibe I got, so I feel like she's gonna finally be freed and she could be with Cole, even if we don't like him still, like that's her choice, good for her, and maybe be with the actual relationship she wants to be in. That's when it's be like, nope, you're gonna marry this guy now, and it's definitely can't be like the old way where he gives her away and she has no choice. But I feel like he's gonna talk it into a situation where, no, if you don't marry him, like we're really fucked. He has all this power, he has all, and honestly he does. He has all this information, he has all these things going on, like he has them and Otto doesn't really see that yet, and I don't think this guy's the guy that they can take out, and maybe they'll need some help like from Rhaenyra to take him out. But I feel like Otto's being blind, and this guy is, you know, like look at the White Worm, like look at the result that happened there. She died in this episode, right? She gets Aegon, she makes this whole deal, and it's so funny, she takes Aegon. Why? For, we talk about what you making the face for, Taylor.
The White Worm, she died?
Didn't they burn her to a crisp in this episode?
I didn't.
Or was it wrong?
I didn't think that was her.
I don't think that was her.
So what was that place that was built burning? Because it looked very similar to the White Worm's place. So when Eric and what's her name, the princess, are walking down and they pass one of the buildings, it has like the patio thing, and it has like the stairs like that. I could be wrong, but that's how I thought that was that burning building.
Because I don't know if they know how to find her that easy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask who you guys thought that was, because I wasn't too sure, because it almost seemed like the lead up to that they were like saying that like Alicent was saying that like Otto was going against her, and then next thing you know, like someone's just on fire. I'm like, well, there's no way that's Otto in there, because like they wouldn't just kill him off screen. But I'm like, who the fuck's in there? Like that just, I don't know.
They didn't properly explain it. Like it could be the White Worm, but I didn't take it as that, especially because like that whole scene with Otto and her, like I really liked when he was like, oh, you're just like another pawn on the board or whatever, and she's like, oh, how does it feel? I'm sorry that the king's dead, and she's just fucking money on the table, like, okay, this is the real deal, let's get into it. But they were very ambiguous about it.
I'm not the only one that thinks that. I think other people, I don't know, so I think it's confirmed that might be the building, but if people are like, is she actually dead? Now I could be wrong. People in the comments, please let me know. But there's other, so even then there's other people like myself, because I just did a Twitter search, I just put White Worm dead, and there's other people like, oh, she can't be dead, or blah blah. So do we believe the White Worm's actually dead? So like I think that's what they were implying, there was an attack. And hey, you know, like I said, I still haven't been proven wrong about that handmaiden being alive yet. You know, like we didn't see her at all.
Right either.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to me, if we never see her again, I'm fucking proven right in my opinion.
What?
Of like,
No.
yes,
Prove you right.
they didn't
You thought she
fire
died?
her. What? Yeah,
I thought
they
she was
didn't.
dead.
Yeah,
I thought they
didn't-
just like paid her off and went to go like live in some faraway land,
No,
probably with Sir Corlys.
I told you the reverse, that they gave her that money to like make her drink it, because why would you drink it before? But it's like, oh, if they give me this money, then they want me to survive, so I'll drink this. But either way, so White Worm, I think that was location, but even then, my point about the White Worm, which was funny, is in all this chaos, she's like the only person like really trying to do things for unpersonal gain. They're like, what do you want? Like, you know, all these children fighting and other things that they're made to do, we want that stopped. We don't want any more of that.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like this woman on the ground that's like dealing with prostitutes and everything, and that's where like that's the morality tale. Like she's the one actually looking out for people in the streets, children, where these people could give two fucks. Like, because Otto doesn't even say he could like promise it. He just said, I'll look into it. That's all he could give her, is I could look into it for you, and I won't forget who did this and stuff. But to me, I took that as like a threat, and that's why. So when I saw it burning building, I'm like, oh, the White Worm, to like, because I know you would say like, oh, where do they know where she is? But he could easily, like, the second he left that meeting, had one of those dudes like, you tail this woman no matter where she goes. Like somebody, right? Of you're following this one, find out where she is, find out who she is, because this show's moving at warp speed, so we jump over that stuff all the time. So my thing, and especially because like Laurie's like, that's how he killed his dad and brother, right? So when we saw the fire again, I'm like, oh, did they just design this? Like, hey, there's this person that has a bunch of stuff on us. They're fucking with us. Let's just take them out right now, you know? And so I could be wrong. I think because the White Worm we'll definitely see again and get that confirmed if she's alive or dead. But either way, I liked that as she's trying to do good while everyone else is not they're just trying to be king or queen, you know? That's about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good character trait of hers, where because up to this point, I feel like she's just always been like shrouded with crime. Like she's always been, I don't know, like I guess prostitutes are legal there, so maybe I guess that side isn't shamed upon. But just her like dealings with Damon, she's always just kind of been attributed to the bad side of the law in my eyes. But to have that good twist in there, it's like, oh yeah, the people that are actually pushing the laws are all the criminals in the show, and so that's the way it's kind of always been. Everyone's just fucking stabbing each other behind the back and all that such. Classic Game of Thrones fashion.
And then we got Bug Girl highlighted a little in this episode. She called the dragon coming out because she said that, the beast beneath the boards and stuff. And Allison's like, your dad's dead. Like, she's just trying to talk to her. But yeah, she said that. So now I think we're getting the sense that that's the reason she's kind of weird. It's not because she's just some weird bug girl. It's because I think she has like a gift that she can, like the foresight and stuff like that. Because I think she's done that already in another episode too, where she said something that was like very cagey. It's like, this doesn't make much sense. But this one was clear because obviously the dragon come out beneath the bottom, right? Whatever. But I love that she was literally just knitting some sort of like bug thing. Like it was
like
a
crochet,
picture.
right?
Yeah, but it was the main picture was like a bug. It's just like, oh, of course you are. And I did
It's
like
her house sigil. She's not a Targaryen anymore.
To this? No, okay. I did like too in the coronation that everyone bowed to Aegon except for Aemon, who this episode was very.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, like everyone gives like a little head, and he just kind of stands there, And maybe if he did, it was like the lightest one, but they showed.
I thought he did something extremely light because it focused on the sister more as not giving a nod.
But that's where it just felt like he's very because they planted the seeds in this episode of talking about how he should be king, and Kurt Cole's like, I know what it's like to be worthy of something, but have it handed to someone else. And even Aegon gave him. He was trying to pull a fucking Sir Lenore or however that guy's name was. Rhaenyra's old Laenor. Her old husband is just like, I'll get on a boat and get the fuck out of here. And Aemon was like, he was concerned before Cole took him out.
If Cole wasn't there, he would have agreed.
He would have been gone because he's laying that out of like, I have the biggest dragon. I'm well trained. I'm all this. If they come looking for me, I will be found. And it's pretty much just showing, hey, even again, like Otto and Alicent, there's going to be dissension between those two because there's a chance that he is next in line. So if something bad would happen to Aegon.
I thought that was like his main mission for a moment when he was just like the way that he like took Kristen to the side and like again was kind of like making his claim for the throne and like how it just makes sense to go this way. And I like when he was chasing Aegon, I was like, holy fuck, he's just gonna murder his brother right here and like no one's gonna say anything about it. Like I was completely convinced that was the case. So I was a little bit surprised that he just went along with it. I know it's just through that single eye and the eye patch, there's a lot of mischievous things going on in that thinker of his. So I am intrigued to see like when he does his play, because like it's already been kind of clear that he isn't too satisfied with his position. Like he definitely believes that he deserves more, and just seeing so many like similarities between him and Daemon from earlier on in the show.
Even the brother dynamic, right? Of him just handed king and he's just there.
Yeah, exactly.
Side bitch or whatever. But and we talked about last week. I think the only reason he didn't do anything is because I feel like he does genuinely. He's not going to go against his mom yet. I think that will happen at some point. But right now, it seems like he's most loyal to her, and he offered to help, and he did his job. I had a theory at one point. They never confirmed it, but I was wondering if Otto was going to have Aegon killed because he said, bring him to me. And it was so funny because when Alicent goes in there and talks about Rhaenyra and like, oh, we can't kill Rhaenyra, we can't kill her and all these things. And he's like, oh, we know sometimes a small sacrifice is needed for the greater good. And since Otto's been back, all he's been talking about is how fucking Aegon sucks and how Aemon's so great. And so I don't know if that for sure was going to happen. And obviously Alicent, because Alicent made a point, she's like, I have Aegon with me. So I don't think that's for sure what they're going for. for. But the fact that he just needed them to bring Aegon to him, there's still part of me that thinks that there's a chance that Otto maybe would have had him killed just so Aemon would go up there. I'm not saying that Travis told you, but it was just the lining of it. It was like, why are they so opposed? Like, because they're in opposing sides here, right? The opposing side is just either Aegon gets brought to Alicent or gets brought to him. Why is that such a divide? Why isn't it just not brought back home? So the fact that he needed to bring to me, I was like, this is a little strange. So I could see something like that, honestly, like Otto taking out Aegon with the help of Aemon, and maybe Aemon is like getting mad at the mom at some point for taking Aegon's side a bunch. I don't know, because he asked, "Oh, do you love me?" and she kind of laughed off, like, "Of course." But last episode you did say you're no son of mine, so I think he has the right to ask that, because
she didn't even say yes. Like when he asked
she
that,
laughed.
he just said like, "You imbecile."
Yeah, you're right. You imbecile. Yeah, I took it as like a endearing, like why he's done for even asking that. Like, of course she loves him, but I don't think, like, in this world, I don't know.
I don't think she even thinks that. I don't really think she feels the need to like try and play around with that. Because in the past, like, didn't she like when he sexually assaulted that handmaiden, and she's like, "You're no son of mine." Didn't she drop that line? Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
I think she's just playing along right now because he's about to get crowned. But yeah, I don't think she fucking cares about Aegon. Yeah,
and like just again, Aegon's terrible piece of shit, but just like his role in amongst this it's fun for me. Just being like the guy that's gonna be king here. It's like, fuck, like I do not want to do this like at all, and just like his mindset through this, again, complete piece of shit, just like sexually assaulting and all that stuff, terrible. I think he will get a pretty vicious end, which I really was surprised that didn't happen in this episode. Honestly, I thought him and Alicent was gone in that moment when Rhaenyra was on the dragon. And again, like I said, like I saw something that said that this was Olivia Cook's last episode, so I was like, oh wow, like this is actually happening right here, and it just didn't. It's just like, oh, okay, I wonder how we're gonna get rid of these two. So
yeah, he's gonna be worse than Viserys, because Viserys was like a bad king, but he still took it on, and like he's gonna be worse than Joffrey too. Because not like the way Joffrey's brutal, it's just like Joffrey still at the end they wanted to be king, and he was a little shit. It's like this little shit doesn't want to be king. I think they're trying to show that when they were cheering and clapping, that he was maybe getting into it, like, oh, this could be for me, But I did like that he shouted out. He's like, my father didn't even like me. We talked about it last week, right? Where he referred to Rhaenyra as his only child, and that's where I still feel like he did not have close connections with these kids, That's
another trait of Aegon's that I love, is that like he just states the obvious, where people like dance around these like political games, like, oh no, like that's actually her kids, or oh no, like he's actually gonna be king because everybody wants him to. It's just like, this is so ridiculous. Like father could have named me heir for the last 20 years and he didn't. It's like till right before he died. Like he's the one being king, like called king, and he's still like calling bullshit to her mom's story. So I love how like just naturally they're calling out that bullshit there, and it wasn't just like, oh, we're just gonna hope the viewers are idiots and just accept this. It's like, no, this is a terrible idea, and we didn't even get to see the full repercussion because the main opposing force wasn't even in this episode. They're technically not even aware of what's going on here, and that's what really has me just jazzed for next week.
Yeah, and it fits with him younger, right? Because remember when they asked him about, oh, why did you call them bastards? He just said like, well, everyone knows. Like he didn't make up some reason to jump around, and he just like, look at them, And that's, again, he was just being very just straightforward. Like, they don't have white hair, they don't look like us, like all these things and everything. So I'm wondering. I feel like Cole and Laris are gonna like outlive Aegon, and I don't even know if Aegon's gonna die by like enemy fire. I just feel like Aegon could do something stupid that gets himself in the situation. Like he could die because some fucking pimp is mad at him or something. I know they don't have pimps or something, but it could just be something like that, But he didn't want to be king, but he is king now, So, anything else to bring up?
No, I just think that that's basically what my name is off of, the I don't want it kind of thing, where he was just like running away, not wanting to be king and all that. I think it'll come down to him making some mistake. Like, again, unfortunately, there are spoilers to be had by looking at certain family lineages and stuff.
They all die,
Yeah, like, they all die. Yeah,
they die and they end up with none of these Targaryens. Like, they're not king and queen anymore. So clearly, it doesn't go well for any of these people.
No, it definitely doesn't. But yeah, I think it's intriguing, the fact that, okay, he ran away because he obviously knew it was going down and he wanted to stay hidden, and he got betrayed by the White Worm. And now he's just in a situation where He's got to do it, but I think the people kind of turning over and kind of like
We're losing them.
you're losing me. So the people turning over and kind of like cheering him on and egging him on. I think that was kind of like a good turning point for him because he was rocking it. He got his sword out. He's like, "Fuck yeah, fuck yeah!" And then the dragon came up. He's like, "Fuck no, fuck no." So
He's like, is that my dragon?
yeah, whoa.
Yeah, it's awesome. We got
We're king now, dragon. And then Dakara's and then he gets blown up and stuff like that.
That's what should happen.
That's what
I
should
liked
happen.
I liked his costume, like his robes with the gauntlets, everything he had, like the Valyrian dagger on his one side, his sword on his other. He looked pretty damn cool. Very cool.
Looked pretty kingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he still looked like a little boy. I don't like. To me, he didn't look like a king. He looked like before Link becomes an adult, like that kind of image.
Kid Link.
Yeah, kid.
Aemond
Link,
is adult Link and Aegon is young Link.
Yeah.
100%.
That reminds me, I had this image ready to go last week when we were talking about it, just father and son. Look at these two. That's like the father and his two kids right there. Like that's
100%.
that's exactly what that looks like.
Yeah. They showed in the preview next week he's gonna take off his patch, so we're gonna see his fucking gross looking.
Is he gonna have a
face.
Viserys just gaping hole?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt
I
it.
actually didn't watch the preview.
I did because I wanted to be for sure that what was it, Rhaenys or whatever, Rhaenys was on the other side because I'm like, is this any way that she could be saying like I'm with you? But no, she's in like the war table. They're just talking about like a lot of bad shit's happened and that's okay.
Well, that was fucked up, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, so
And
you're
then
telling me you had them there?
Yeah.
You didn't,
And
you
then I
didn't
came up.
Dracarys them?
They had me in a room. A guy helped me sneak out. I get. They're like sitting here, like, and then like a crowd came. Like the way C-3PO tells
Wonderful
the story.
storyteller,
Yeah,
yeah.
in Return of the Jedi, like, and a crowd came, and I got swallowed, engulfed by
They
the
were
crowd.
closing the doors.
Yeah,
I had to
yeah.
get out.
Being pushed further and further to the coronation. I see Aegon. He gets the crown. I get my moment to sneak out. I get on the dragon. I burst through the crown, and they're like, yes, and you burned them. You said the crown, and I flew away. But they know not to fuck with me ever again. Yeah.
It's like, so you're telling me the people that we're going to war against right now, you could have just murdered them right then
All
and
of
there.
them. Not
Yeah.
even one of them where it's like, oh, you killed Aegon, but there's still like this huge line of succession. No. All the succession lines in front of you.
Yeah.
Done. Now that you say it in retrospect, yes, but it was a long day. I didn't have
They wouldn't have been
water.
able to see me fly away. It was so awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to look really cool. And you murdered dozens of people. They just happened to be there, you know. Oh man, I hope they have that. They won't have that conversation. They're gonna jump like a week ahead, where they already like no one asks like, why didn't you do anything? You know, but again, if I was Damon, fuck, they would all been gone. I wish it was Damon that was caught because he would have not faltered. They would all be done just like that. Even
That's
Rhaenyra,
what
I
I
think,
thought.
would have done. You know,
That's what I thought
better.
was like popping up right then and there. I'm like, holy fuck, this is actually gonna be epic. Like they're just coming to answer. They're just gonna show up, maybe kill someone, maybe not, and it's just gonna like end the episode. And I'm just gonna be so pumped for next week. And then no, it was
Yeah.
Rhaenys doing nothing.
And like, here's the thing: I don't want it to be like the Red Wedding because I hate the Red Wedding. People go, "Oh, because it's a big twist, kick, take errors." No, I just felt like there was still a few more things to do with those characters that kill them off too early. I know that's part of the point. Now, like I'm saying this, I don't want these characters to be burned up to fire because there's so much to play with: the drama, the intrigue, the politics. I just wish they didn't put this moment in the show and take it out with the dragon because then it's just like I didn't actually want next week to start with, yeah, and I killed them all, and you're the queen. It's just like, man, we lost all our antagonists in one episode. That would have fucking sucked. So I'm happy it didn't happen. But it just doesn't make sense story-wise. But maybe next week she'll try and explain herself, and maybe we'll get some reasoning. Who knows? Maybe the dragon was out of fire or something. I don't know what's going on with these dragons. But next week finale, we'll be here breaking it down.
One more thing. So we get to the Fight Club, and the kids file their teeth and
Right.
sharpen their nails,
Ugh.
and that's fucking brutal. Like people bet money here. But we learned that Aegon frequents this area. Now the two guards that were brothers, they hinted and looked at this one kid who had blonde hair. Was this supposed to be one of Aegon's bastards?
Yes.
I thought they said something like that. Yeah, they implied something like
said
that.
one of
yeah.
many. I think they said.
Oh,
That sucks. Just a bunch of kids in there just doing Fight Club, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Father will
that's-
love me.
That's like one of the darker Game of Thrones thing. Even there's a lot of fucked up things in Game of Thrones, but like a child, 10-year-old,
they weren't
Fight
holding
Club
back
thing going on.
either. Like the kid would swing, and the blood would spray from the
Yeah.
kid's face. Fuck.
That was hard to watch. It's all make believe, as George R. R. Martin
Exactly.
says.
They're all fine. They're all fine. But yeah, well, there you go. We'll be back next week. I'm sure it's going to be a spicy episode, juicy
Oh, yeah.
episode. Got the finale going on. I'm sure we're getting the other side of what the fuck they think's happening over there, and we'll see. Or as I've said before, prepare yourself potentially for a slow one, because Game of Thrones has done that before, where it's just an epilogue of like lots of setup for season 2. I don't think it's going to happen because of the show's been a little bit different with its pacing, but just think about the past Game of Thrones that has happened. Because I remember, oh, we got the fucking finale next week. Here we go. I'm like, oh, fucking Tyrion talked for 20 minutes. What the fuck's going on? It's like, oh, it's been 4 years. Let's come on now.
Yeah.
We know the
No more foot beaten off next week. Let's save that.
the
for
whole
next season.
episode. Just like a
That's how it starts.
next foot, next foot. No one's like
Otto's
Alicent.
feet are up on
Yeah.
the.
What do you think? What do you think, sire? It's like, all right, Otto. All right, let's end an episode there. Won't be boring.